నేను మాత్రం మా ఇద్దరు పిల్లల్ని క్వాలిటీ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అందించే ఉల్లంపర్రు మాంటిసోరీ స్కూల్లో మాత్రమే చదివిస్తాను. ఇలా అన్నీ ఉన్న చోట మన పిల్లల్ని చదివిస్తేనే వాళ్ళకి మంచి భవిష్యత్తు ఉంటుంది.
నాకు అన్ని నెంబర్ 1 కావాలి. అందుకే నా పెద్ద మనవరాల్ని అన్ని వసతులతో క్వాలిటీ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అందిస్తున్న స్కూల్లోనే జాయిన్ చేశాను.
ఏ స్కూల్ సార్ అది?
ఉల్లంపర్రు మాంటిసరీ స్కూల్. క్వాలిటీ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ లో నెంబర్ 1, కల్చరల్ యాక్టివిటీస్ లో నెంబర్ 1, స్పోర్ట్స్ లో నెంబర్ 1, క్యాంపస్ లో నెంబర్ 1.
అది
మీ పిల్లల బంగారు భవిష్యత్తుకు మాది బాధ్యత.
Good morning, students. This is Ananda, the teacher of Montessori's. Today, I am going to explain the lesson People and Settlement for 10th class, paper 1. First, what is a settlement? The way we organize ourselves and living spaces in a place is called a settlement. It is that geographical place where we stay and work. This is also called a settlement. There are different types of settlements on different landforms. If you observe the settlements on mountainous and hilly terrains, plateau regions, plain regions. Let me explain you first. How did settlements begin? Hunter-gatherers. Who are hunter-gatherers? The people of earliest times. The earliest people are called hunter-gatherers because they hunted the animals for food and for other uses, mainly for hides to cover their body. So they hunted the animals for food and they have used the hides to cover their skin, and for other uses they hunted the animals. That's why they are called hunter-gatherers. Coming to their lifestyle, they are called nomads. Nomads means they have already settled life. In search of food and hunting the animals, they kept moving from one place to another. This type of living is called nomadic life. That's why they are called nomads. But once they started agriculture, they have changed as agriculturists. So what made them to become as agriculturists? That is, as they have settled for several years as hunter-gatherers, suddenly, owing to the changes in the climatic conditions, it made difficult for them to collect the food. Then they started raising the crops. Once they started raising the crops, to look after the crops, they started settling at one place. Like that, they have organized their settlements. So this made the hunter-gatherers to lead the sedentary life. Sedentary means settled life. They have to settle at one place to look after the crops, and this is then the life started as agriculturists. It is that 12,000 years ago they have started raising the crops. Then what happens gradually? As agriculture expanded, then it gave rise for emergence of urban settlements. They are called towns. Urban settlements are also called towns. Once they started agriculture, so gradually population has increased. With increase in the population, people started taking up some non-agriculture works. So they started developing the skills as they started working as weavers, potters, metal workers. Like that, a change has observed in their lifestyle because of this specialized skills. So like that, people those who are taking up the non-agricultural works, their settlements are termed as urban settlements. They are the towns. the village areas. So we call the village areas as the rural settlements. Like that, rural settlements and urban settlements are formed with the increased population. Once the population has increased, when they started taking up non-agriculture works, so this gave rise for production of different goods, manufacturing of different varieties of goods. Then they started trading. They started selling in the markets. They started purchasing the raw material. Like that, purchasing raw material and producing the finished goods. This made the people to trade with the other places. Once goods started trading in between the places, then it gave rise for traders. And they started trading the goods to distant places also. Like that, many changes were observed in the lifestyle of the human beings. So which in turn we can call the how do settlements begin and how did the people started taking up various works apart from the agriculture works. Why do settlements change? The settlements change with the increase of the population. For example, if you take the capital of India, that is Delhi. So Delhi is the capital of India, and before our pre-colonial rule also, it is a centered place for number of dynasties. So like that, it has its importance, made it remained as the capital for India after its independence. So after independence, because of increased population, many things are being changing in the Delhi till today. Coming to the migrations, people are migrating from various parts of India in search of the employment. As it is industrially developed city, many members are coming for seeking the job and they are searching for their livelihood. Like that, as it is our country's capital, our parliament and central government offices are located here. So because of its importance, the growing population is increasing day by day here. So I want to give some information about Delhi. So why I am telling that, why do settlements change in Delhi till today? That is, it is true that 1/3 of our Indian population is living in the urban settlements at present. That is what? How much? 1/3 of population is living in the urban areas. If you compare the Delhi of 1950s and at present, at the time of 1950s, there are only 5 cities in India which are having the population of more than 1 million. But if you observe present, there are 3 cities whose population is more than 10 million. So like that, depending upon the settlement, our Indian hierarchy is divided into some categories based on its population level. So I will explain that also to you. But coming to the Delhi, with this increased population, there are slum areas, authorized areas, unauthorized areas, Juggi Jhopadi clusters, regularized areas. Like that, we can find the different settlements within the Delhi, and it has 3 master plans. So this master plan refers to, it's a plan for the allocation of public amenities like transportation, sewage disposal, next street lightening, some other organized institutions. So like that, if you observe each and every public amenity to allocate these amenities, each and every city has a plan. This is called master plan. And this master plan was designed several times in Delhi. Though it was implemented number of times, still it is in unplanned way because of increased population. So even though Delhi Development Authority is trying to change number of times, but it became unsuccessful. That is only because of the increased population. Even though it is developed industrially, there are many slum areas are developing continuously where people have no basic facilities also. So like that, if you compare from 1950s to today, the Delhi's population has increased 8 times. This increased population is making the Delhi to remain as the unplanned city. Then if you take Visakhapatnam, Visakhapatnam is also one of the largest city. It is the largest city of the AP. So this is also the place which is located in the coastal zone. This coastal area is a significant place for the connection with other areas of India and other countries also. So it is also industrially developed area. As it is port city, it is providing many job opportunities and many people are migrating to Visakhapatnam for seeking the job. And it is area Britishers also at the time of Britishers rule. There was a conflict between the British and French about the extending their powers for establishment of port in Visakhapatnam. So like that, they fought a naval battle before the British rule in India also. Then once Britishers started ruling in India, they have changed its borders several times as per their convenience. Next, what kinds of places attract the settlements? We have to observe 3 concepts to observe this the places that attract the settlements. There are 3 basic concepts. One is site, the second one is situation, another one is the history of the place. Site. Site refers to the place. It has the characteristics like topography, altitude, soils, water resources, etc. Then situation. Situation refers to the place connection with other places. Suppose the place has good connection with other places, it is a reason for organizing number of settlements. Next one is history of the place. History of the place refers to historical importance. Here I want to give some examples. By this you can understand well. As you have seen the characteristics of the site, if you take one example of Chhatrapati Shivaji's fort, he was establishing his fort in Pratapgarh of Maharashtra. He was constructed this on the high altitude region. Why? What is the reason behind the establishment of, that is, construction of fort on the high altitude region? That is, it is the safest place for him to observe whatever is going on around that place, and he can easily watch everything around that place. So this can help him to protect himself from the invasion. preferred that place for the construction of fort. The same way, if you take the example of Visakhapatnam, I have already explained you the importance. That is, Visakhapatnam has connection with different places of in and out of India. So as it is industrially developed, as it is in the coastal zone, it has this proximity is making it to be connected with number of areas. So like that, as it has its importance of situation, so this is the reason for organizing number of settlements here. Then if you take the history of the place, so this is applicable for Visakhapatnam also. As I have already mentioned you the importance of this place, that is the naval battle took place in between the British and French, as they wanted to control the port. It is easy for them to send the raw materials to their colonial countries, which can help them to increase the production in their countries. So to control the trade easily, so they had an eye towards the Visakhapatnam. The same is happened for Chennai and Mumbai also, which were developed as the colonial cities that helped the colonial powers to extend their trade and for exploitation of resources in India. So like that, Visakhapatnam has many settlements, which is an example for site, situation and history of the place. Migration of people from rural areas to urban areas is called urbanization. Then urbanization of India. I have already mentioned you that 1/3 of Indian population is living in the urban areas. They are taking up non-agricultural works. And when more number of people are migrating from rural areas to urban areas, there is a difference in the Indian settlements in hierarchy. So depending upon the population, these settlements are divided into different categories. They are megacities, metropolitan cities, cities, towns, census village or villages, hamlets. So let me explain you clearly about all this. And this division is done depending upon the population level. So the cities whose population is more than 10 million, they are called megacities. Whose population is more than 10 million. So in India, we have 3 megacities: Greater Mumbai, Delhi and Kolkata. These 3 comes under the megacities whose population is more than 10 million. And what are metropolitan cities? If you take Chennai, Hyderabad, they comes under the category of metropolitan cities whose population is in between 1 million to 10 million. If the population is in between 1 million to 10 million, those cities are metropolitan cities. If the population is in between 1 lakh to 1 million, those areas are called cities. Or you have to say first class cities. First class cities, big cities. Then coming to the towns, whose population is in between 5,000 to 1 lakh, then those areas are called as towns. Then what about census village? Up to here we can say the urban settlements. Coming to the village areas, village area is a place having a defined borders. So those areas are referred as the villages. Then hamlets. Hamlets means group of houses in a village is called a hamlet. Group of villages comes under a hamlet, that is comes under the hamlet region, hamlets. So depending upon the population, our Indian settlements are divided into these many as megacities, metropolitan cities, towns, census village and hamlets. Then finally I want to tell you Erythropolis. Erythropolis. What is an Erythropolis? It's an airport city. What is an airport city? There are some airports in India which are centered around the port. That is what this type of places we are find in India, like Rajiv Gandhi International Airport in Hyderabad, like the Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi, Bangalore International Airport in Bangalore. So, what are the facilities we observe in airport city? There are facilities like hotels, restaurants, entertainment options, shopping complexes, business conference halls. This type of facilities are located around the airport. People easily can take up the business activities by flying in. They can complete their business activities with their counterparts. Then happily and comfortably they can come out of the place by using this airways. So these facilities are few in some of the places, but now India is also developing the airports in this manner. Like that, if you find internationally, Dubai International Airport in Dubai, London Heathrow Airport, International Airport in London, like that Suvarnabhumi International Airport. So these are some of the examples for Erythropolis internationally. So next I am going to ask you the questions related to today's topic. So look at 1 mark questions. What is the settlement? What places attract the settlements? Like that, what is urbanization? What is a settlement? It's a geographical place where we stay and work. That is settlement. What kinds of places attract the settlement? Site, situation and history of the place. So like that, what about the earliest settlements? Emergence of agriculture, expansion of urban areas, taking up the non-agriculture works by the people. So this leads to the urban settlements. Next, who led the nomadic life? Hunter-gatherers. And who started the sedentary life? When hunter-gatherers changed it into agriculturists. So like that, these are some of the questions related to the topic settlement. Then urbanization. What is urbanization? Migration of people from rural areas to urbanization is called urbanization. Then urbanization leads to some problems also. Next 2 marks question I am going to explain you that. Next, Erythropolis. What is an Erythropolis? It's an airport city where facilities are developed around the airport. That is Erythropolis. I already mentioned you some examples of Erythropolis in India. They are Bangalore International Airport at Bangalore, Indira Gandhi International Airport at Delhi, Rajiv Gandhi International Airport at Hyderabad. So like that, international airports, if you consider Suvarnabhumi International Airport, London Heathrow Airport, Cairo International Airport, so these are comes under international airports. Next, megacities. What are megacities? There are 3 megacities in India. First one, Greater Mumbai, Delhi and Kolkata. The first place is, the first megacity is Mumbai, the second one is Delhi, third one is Kolkata. So they are megacities. What is a megacity? The city has a population more than 10 million. They comes under a category of megacities. Then towns, hamlets, like that, revenue village. So all this comes under 1 mark questions. Then 2 mark questions. What is the importance of Visakhapatnam? I have already mentioned you that Visakhapatnam has its importance, refers to the concepts like site, situation and history of the place also. So it is industrially developed. It is located in the coastal zone which had the connections to in and out of India. So like that, this situations making the Visakhapatnam to attract more settlements with more population. Next, needs of increased population. It is common to each and every urban area, that is, the increased population needs several facilities. They are water supply, sewage disposal, street lightening. Main problem is housing facilities. So these many basic facilities are needed to the each and every area. So but this increased population is making these areas to develop some slum areas also. Next, reasons for population increase. What are the reasons for population increase? The increase of population is due to 3 reasons. One is natural growth. Another one is inclusion of surrounding rural areas into urban area. The another one is migration. 1/5 of increased population is due to migrations from other areas, that is in migration. So coming from other areas and settling here. This in migration is also reason for population growth. Next one, contribution of urban India to economic development. Yes, it is true. In urban settlements, there are number of facilities. We can find educational, religious, commercially developed activities are going on, which in turn leads to the economic development of a country. Just if you take service sector is providing many jobs. Then people are choosing up service sector activities, which in turn is giving growth for economic development as compared to the industrial growth. So service sector is a fast growing sector at present, which is contributing a lot for countries' GDP at present. So it in turn leads to the country's development, that is economic growth. Next, coming to 4 marks questions. Already you have got these answers in the small questions also, but if these questions are given for 4 marks, you have to elaborate the answer. See the first one, what is urbanization? What is urbanization? Then mention its challenges and suggest remedies. We have to write the definition for urbanization. So migration of people from rural areas to urban areas is called migration. Mention its challenges. That means you have to write the problems in urbanization. So because of crowded population leads to the congested areas, and there are some areas are developed as slum regions, which is causing inconvenience for housing, and also it requires more housing facilities along with with other public amenities. So like that we have to mention the problems of overcrowded areas in urban regions, then suggest the remedies. How do we control the problems of urbanization? The main one is, what are the remedies for this one? Employment opportunities are provided in rural areas. Most of the migrant people, they will stop migrating in search of the work in urban areas. If the work is provided in the village areas itself, then they can settle in the village areas, which in turn leads to the prosperity of the agriculture activities. So mainly MNREGA. So through MNREGA, and government is providing the employment to the rural communities to stop the migration to urban areas. Why? Because along with the agriculture activities, if they have any other source of income, they can earn their livelihood easily. So with this intention, government is providing employment through MNREGA. Next, what kinds of places attract the settlements? Their site, situation and history of the place. Next, how are slums are formed? So this is also a part of urbanization. Wherever you got the overcrowded places leads to the slum areas. That answer you have to mention into this one. Then, what is an erythropolis or airport city? How is it structured? So you have to write what is an airport city. Okay, this is the airport which is concentrated, which is centered in the city, having number of facilities around it, and you have to write how is it structured, means how people are making use of these facilities in a comfortable manner to complete their business transactions or their job activities by making use of these facilities. So they are continuing their jobs. So this question you have to give the elaborate answer by giving some examples. I have already mentioned you the examples for airport cities in India and out of India also. So thank you very much.
ఉల్లంపూర్ మాన్సూన్ స్కూల్లో అటు డిజీ క్లాసులు ఇటు ఐఐటి క్లాసులు సమర్థవంతంగా నిర్వహిస్తున్నారు. ఈ స్కూల్ నుండి 10 మంది డాక్టర్లు, 8 మంది చార్టర్డ్ అకౌంట్లు, అనేక మంది ఐఐటి ఎన్ఐటిలో చదివిన ఇంజనీర్లు ఉన్నారు. అంతేకాదు ఈ విద్యా సంస్థల్లో 10 రకాల కాంపిటీషన్ ఎగ్జామ్స్లోని విజయకేతలు ఎగరేశారు. 4 స్టేట్ ఫస్ట్లు, 40 టాప్ 10 ర్యాంకులతో పాటు 13 మంది గోల్డ్ మెడల్ సాధించారు. ఒత్తిడి లేని విద్యను అందిస్తూ అటు జాతీయ స్థాయి స్పోర్ట్స్ ర్యాంకులతో పాటు ఇటు ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ర్యాంకులు సాధిస్తున్న ఏకైక విద్యా సంస్థ ఉల్లంపూర్ మాంటిసోరీ స్కూల్.